In this episode of Travelogue, join us as we embark on the Silk Road to visit the gatekeeper of ancient China, JIAYUGUAN. We'll journey back in time, fly across canyons, creep through tombs, and scramble across glaciers. So sit back and enjoy.
Everybody knows the Silk Road, and hundreds of years ago, when you came here, you'd have to pass through JIAYUGUAN. This was the most strategic location in the Hexi corridor, between two mountains, the narrowest point. This was the chokehold. But this place was not just a fortress in the middle of nowhere, and I'll show you today, because in this episode, you can find some of the best wine here. You can find murals from 1600 years ago of life on the Silk Road, painted on the bricks of underground tombs, and we might even get a bit of ice in it. I'm Taran, welcome to Travelogue, and welcome to JIAYUGUAN.
JIAYUGUAN, the mouth of China, a place that once guarded the entrance to the Middle Kingdom and the thriving artery of the Silk Road, a 650-year-old Ming Dynasty fortress built to withstand the strongest of enemies, an impenetrable labyrinth.
Now, first of all, you see this, the gate of JIAYUGUAN, and it looks deceptively simple. But firstly, you see this wall blocking your path. This is actually a very, very special wall. It's called a double cork, and it gives you two choices. You go either left or you go right. You don't know where to go, so I'm going to go left and see what's over there. There's a trap, nothing there. So I'm going to run towards this way. This is still, mind you, between two walls, so I don't know what's going on. I'm looking around. If I head that way, I'll be stuck between two walls again. I'll be losing more men. But I'll come here and I'll see this wall, this last gate, and it's my refuge. I'll break through. 4 walls on every single side. Soldiers shooting me, pelting with stones. But if I do make it past this place, then I'm home free. That is the real McCoy.
Since its creation, JIAYUGUAN has never been defeated. It was built to defend China from Tamerlane the Great. Fortunately, Tamerlane never made it. And today, JIAYUGUAN is the best preserved military building on the Great Wall. It's mind-blowing to think that centuries ago, the Silk Road passed through here. And through this gate, caravans would travel for months on end, across mountains and deserts, to reach Constantinople, and from there, Rome. Nowadays, the JIAYUGUAN airport is only 6 kilometers away from the fortress, making it a lot easier to reach this part of Gansu province, here in western China. 8 kilometers from JIAYUGUAN fortress, the Great Wall abruptly ends. This is the first tower of the Great Wall. Built 500 years ago above this imposing canyon. It's a great place to look out for enemies and for turning your legs into jelly.
Deep breath. In and out. Okay. I'll tell you what, this is not my favourite spot right now, but it's good for you. You can see the massive, quite beautiful snowy mountain range right behind me. That's the Qilian mountain range. Over there is the Black mountain range, so we're in the middle of these two massive ranges at the mouth of the Hexi corridor. Right below me is the Taolai River Canyon, so it's no wonder that the watchtower behind you was built at this point, because it's basically impossible to pass this place, and I really don't want to stick around.
Nowadays, crossing the canyon is as easy as buying a ticket and strapping yourself onto a zip line.
Alright, well, I have to do this. We've made this tight enough. And I read before I came up here on the board beneath that people with heart disease, who have high blood pressure, kids, people who are afraid of heights, and pregnant ladies should not come up here. I am all of the above, except for pregnant. I'm ready to go. Ah! Ah! God! Ah! Oh my God!
Coming up next, we'll head underground to get an intimate look at the lives of Silk Road residents, go hunting for elusive rock carvings, and witness the results of JIAYUGUAN's ethnic potpourri. We're here to visit a hidden gem, just 20 kilometers east of JIAYUGUAN city. Here's a clue: you won't find it above ground.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm very, very sorry. Because, do you know what? This entire place, every single step I take is potentially stepping on someone's tomb. This entire place, as far as all of the trees you can see, is filled with ancient tombs from about 1,600 years ago. So that was until around the fall of the Roman Empire. But this place has about, I think, 1,000 to 2,000 tombs. So there's going to be a lot of ancestors who'll be very angry with me today.
Welcome to the Wei and Jin tombs, a burial ground for people from the early Silk Road, as far back as the 5th century AD.
Oh, wow.
这个墓葬呢，它是一个夫妻合葬墓。我们可以看一下它的这个结构，非常的神奇。我们看到呢，用砖修砌，但是呢，不采用任何的粘合剂。顶部更有意思了，它像一个倒扣的斗，它的每一个面我们可以看到，它都是以这种大小不同的等腰三角形构成。它是利用力学相互挤压的原理呢堆砌而成的。经过精确的计算，我们在正中可以看到呢，最后以一块方砖收顶。
现在能盖成这样吗？
盖不上。我们的5号墓在1982年整体搬迁到甘肃省博物馆，没有复原起来。看到一下这个杀牛的更加独特了这个牛画的非常生动，我们可以看到这头牛四足痉挛，挣扎着不肯向前，它的眼睛瞪得通红，背部高高的弓起，它把这个牛恐惧害怕的样子呢表现得非常好。
对，能把这个表情在这么几个线就能画出来他们当时都是会请最好的那些画家来给他们做吗？
这些画工呢，应该都是当地的一些民间的画工，他们对这些生活呢非常的熟悉。我们在这儿看到好多屠宰的，杀完了呢，中式我们就可以看到他们呢就进一步加工，要来吃饭了。我们来看一下
Since ancient times, Chinese people have always had a more pragmatic approach to the afterlife. Instead of being sent to heaven or hell, when you died, you simply lived on in the next realm. But to make sure you have a comfortable afterlife, you'd be buried with spirit objects that represent things you used to own. The owner of this tomb was a government official, and it's thanks to his extensive murals that we're able to so vividly see how people lived on the Silk Road 1,600 years ago.
Just to discover this kind of thing, so intricately detailed with the daily life of people on the Silk Road, it's like a historical tomb, like a library of lifestyles back then on the Silk Road. I mean, just think about it. Over on the west side, ancient Rome was in the middle of collapse, and here you are, people eating char, sheep kebab basically, and playing the lute. It's incredible, absolutely incredible.
At the Black Mountain Range, 20 kilometers northwest of Jiayuguan city, there are murals dating even further back. But they can be difficult to find, especially under the glare of the sun. It's primitive, but if you look closely, you'll spot animals. Incredibly, these are rock carvings from the 3rd century BC of horses, camels, and rams.
But even from 2,300 years ago, you could still have normal people drawing such majestic lines for these animals. But I'll tell you one thing, if it weren't for the guy that brought me here, normal tourists wouldn't be able to find this place.
Many of Jiayuguan's sites are within 30 minutes drive of its city, making it a great place to set out from. It's where you'll find all the hotels, and it's a great place to stock up on supplies, since Jiayuguan's climate can vary from hot and dry in the desert to bitingly cold in the mountains.
So, not many people realise that this place isn't just populated by ethnic Han Chinese, but also ethnic Uyghurs and, of course, ethnic Tibetans. So we're going to go check out this lamassery that's just right over there in the mountains behind me.
But first, some Tibetan hospitality. And no, we're not being toasted with bowls of water, but 3 bowls of hard liquor each.
Third one's a charm.
Thanks to its location on the Silk Road, this area has always been a bit of an ethnic melting pot. And here in Renshu Mountain is a perfect example. The 3 religions of Chinese Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, and Taoism standing side by side. This is, in fact, a Chinese Buddhist temple for fertility. But it's looked after by Taoist nuns. And they tell me that inside, you can find murals painted in the style of Tibetan Buddhism.
I'm only guessing here, but I think one of the reasons why they can allow Tibetan Buddhism with traditional Chinese Buddhism here is probably because of this place's history on the Silk Road, where religions and ideas always mixed and coexisted together. And even though it leaves you a bit confused, it's still pretty awe-inspiring, I have to say.
Next door is a Tibetan Buddhist temple. It's dedicated to the deity of wisdom, Renshu, which also happens to be the name of the mountain we're on. Renshu is always seen holding a flaming sword of wisdom in his right hand that's used to cut through clouds of ignorance. Another main reason that people come here is to visit the High Lama of this place. Of all of the lamas in Tibetan Buddhism, he has been reincarnated the most times, 17 times actually. Unfortunately, he's not here today, but people also see him to cure illnesses. He's a Tibetan doctor, so perhaps sometime you might be able to meet him too. Time for some entertainment. Because there are so many ethnic minorities here, an evening show is a great way to relax and learn a bit about these cultures at the same time. I'm also excited to meet Uyghur people for the first time. They share the same ancestors as the Uyghurs of Xinjiang, but instead of following Islam, they believe in Tibetan Buddhism, just like the ethnic Mongols. It's all a bit confusing, but it just goes to show how diverse China's ethnic minorities really are. So you know what?
I think we often have a misconception of ethnic minorities. We always think that they're going to be performing on grasslands, you know, next to sheep and goats. But actually, it's okay to be modernising. It's okay because it's tradition and you've got evolution happening at the same time.
Tibetans and Uyghurs singing the same song. Now that's something you don't see every day. Coming up next, make sure your liver's prepared as we sample the wines of the Hersey Corridor. Discover something that defies the laws of physics and attempt to conquer Asia's most accessible glacier. About 20 minutes drive from JIAYUGUAN is the prefecture of Jiuquan. Its name literally means wine spring and comes from a legendary tale.
Around 2,000 years ago, that's before the birth of Christ of course, there was a very, very big battle and one of China's most famous generals fought the Huns, a battle which of course he won, and to celebrate they gave him some wine, but he wanted to celebrate with all of his troops, and because his wine wasn't enough, he poured it into the spring for everyone to share. But most importantly, that battle opened up the way for the Silk Road, and of course got everyone royally smashed.
This part of the Hersey Corridor was historically known for its wine, and a special kind of wine glass made out of Qilian jade.
Choices, choices, choices. I mean, there are so many different types of cup here. I mean, I don't know what to choose, and they're all not very cheap, but this one, oh, this is best. It looks like it's fit for the emperor, but then again it is, because this kind of cup was given as tribute to the emperor 3,000 years ago, and these two things will stop you from getting drunk too. So this is pretty useful, but you really don't want to break this.
This cup is made of the natural jade. Right. It cannot glory in the dark. In the old time, when they pour the alcohol into the cup, the water go beyond the rim of cup, but not go outside. They're like as bright as mirror.
Wow.
In moonlight.
Yeah.
Reflect on top of the cup. So cup become the bright. People call this cup luminous jade cup. Okay. So until today, this cup has very romantic and a beautiful name.
Wow. Nice.
We've got the cup, and now it's time to check out the wine.
Whoa. Well, it's certainly a little bit nippy in here, but then again, it's what you need to look after 21,000 of these barrels of red wine, according to my guide. I mean, this place is actually the same size as 2 football pitches, so if I were a footballer, there'd be quite a lot of running around to get all of the red wine I need.
I was pleasantly surprised to find that many of the barrels here have already been reserved by patrons. A great gift for a special occasion. But first, we've got to do a quality check.
So, let me try to find this on the guide. The Zixian Reserve Cab Sauv Dry Red from 2007. Oh, that's going to be good. 看这个玩笑。
酒的颜色主要是红宝石的颜色，它的澄清度还行，看起来比较透亮的，挂杯度比较好，就说明这个酒的单宁含量比较适口的那种。
Oh, that's absolutely gorgeous. Got an aroma of oak, there's a bit of berry in there, some chocolate, lots of tannins. Actually, I just read it off the book, but even so, you know, I was very surprised to find wine of this quality here. But then again, latitude-wise, this place is at 39.6 degrees, which places it very close to Bordeaux in France, which is at 41 degrees. So it's no wonder you get such good quality wine. Cheers. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, I could get drunk off the vapours.
There's nothing quite like getting up early in the morning and facing the freezing winds to put some sense back into your system.
Oh, God. I made it. I've just gone and bought China's cheapest train ticket at 4.5 kwai. And I'm really excited today because we're going to head towards the July 1st glacier, which is Asia's most accessible glacier. It's the closest to town. And it's going to take us roughly 1.5 hours to get there by train. Really looking forward to it. All of the things you need for a successful glacier trip. So of course, firstly, you need a nice cotton hat to keep you nice and warm. Of course, some hot water for when it gets a bit too cold up there. Sunglasses to look cool, and you don't want to end up like a panda. Lip gloss for people with tender lips. Scarf, compass just in case you lose your bearings, your gloves, your suntan lotion, and of course the most important tool, your camera, which you can't forget. Mine broke, so I got another one. But here's to a successful trip. This has got to be one of the world's prettiest ticket centres. We're 3,800 metres above sea level. That's about half the cruising height of commercial airlines. And we're going to go see this. As if that's not enough, you can even post it back home.
It might look easy on paper, but when you're at this altitude, you really have to take it slow.
It's a bit tiring, but it really does feel like you're at the top of the world here. I mean, we're already over 4,300 metres, and despite being quite cool up here, snow and everything, it gets quite hot, and you do get a bit breathless.
Due to the lack of tree coverage, the air's a lot thinner up here, and I'm finding I have to rest almost every 5 minutes. The upside is I get more time to admire the views.
Yeah, we have high mountain, but we don't have snow in Malaysia.
So how did you feel when you were climbing up this place?
Very tough. Cannot breathe.
Yeah.
Tough. Yeah.
The view is really amazing. This is the first time I saw this. Although we spent like 2 hours to climb, and it's really very good memories. But today is really great. So.
And just like that, we arrived at the top. 2 hours of altitude-induced headaches instantly disappeared the moment I saw this glacier. It's hard to imagine that only a couple of hours ago, we were still driving around in the Gobi Desert. And now here we are, walking alongside Asia's most accessible glacier. But most of all, this place makes me realise just how amazing human ingenuity can be. That 2,000 years ago, people etched out the Silk Road through thousands of miles of inhospitable terrain, built a wall to surround all of China, and a fortress in the middle of nowhere to protect all of this. It really is the stuff of legends.
我们在广东的话，一年四季常青，从来没有见过雪。看到这么多雪，我感觉到很激动。虽然经历了很多辛苦、很多艰辛，但是呢，你会觉得呢，一切都是很值得的。
Have you ever seen something this beautiful? Look at that, the icicles. I want to get close, but it's a little bit dangerous. You've got to watch your footing, because you never know when you might fall down. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, no idea how scary this feels, because I don't know when I might be stepping into an ice river that just shoots thousands of meters beneath. Water, the best kind. This beautiful little icicle. Who'd have thought that out here in the Gobi Desert you could find something like this, or some of the best wine in the entire world, Asia's most accessible glacier, a 1,000-year-old icicle, and a perfect glass of red. I have to tell you, this entire trip has surpassed my expectations in every single way. And I hope that when you come here, you'll feel the same. I'm Taran. You've been watching Travelogue. Thanks for watching.